punched, baby, and get shredded. Bye-bye, Tom Cruise. That's so cute. You're trying to Rivers of Blood with no mana. So adorable. It's a Babu Rivers of Blood. It's a baby. Let me guess. Bloodhound, double pokey. I gave you too much credit. You're next. Try me. Are you teabagging your host? Oh, look at the big turtle boy and Babu with the shield, He's a dead boy with the shield, so cute. Such a cute baby. Thought he could hide behind the shield. How adorable. And then his friend is dead too. Oh, so cute. So for the build, you really only need Bestial Sling and Hone Bolt as your only spells. They combo together very nicely, as I'll show in a moment. You can throw on Golden Valve for a buff. I personally don't use it. It gets annoying to buff with every invasion. It just takes too long. But it is a very, very powerful buff. Gives you a nice damage and defense boost. For the spells, Bestial Sling is a short range, very fast, nice little burst. It doesn't do much damage, but it will generally stagger someone if they get hit by it. It annoys people. If someone's playing a little bit too defensively, you can usually hit them with this, and a couple times they'll get annoyed and then they'll start pushing into you. Now, Hone Bolt, it's a longer casting time, much longer, but once you get it out, then you can combo it pretty quickly for multiple strikes, and they will do a lot more damage than Bestial Sling. Bestial Sling doesn't really hit very hard. However, what's really nice is you can actually combo these spells together. If I cast Bestial Sling first, I can follow up with Hone Bolt and immediately skip that casting animation for the Hone Bolt. Let's talk about the swords. These swords are the bread and butter of the build. They're what you're going to be using most of the time. They are amazing. Coated swords, and you're going to want 2 of them, of course, for the dual wielding moveset. It is awesome. These swords deal pure holy damage, 592 without any buffs. Granted, the Sacred Scorpion Charm is boosting the damage, so 528 without the Sacred Scorpion Charm, 592 with it, and they hit extremely hard, pure holy damage, so they only get mitigated against holy defense, and they don't do split damage like most of the other weapons do, getting mitigated against physical and holy. Now, some people asked me, they commented on my level 100 version of this video, because, by the way, this is a level 125 version. That's why this exists. Some people commented, why should I worry about split damage? Why is that a big deal? If it's like the same percentage damage reduction of the physical and the holy, wouldn't that be the same reduction as if it was just that percentage against the holy? Yeah, you're right, it would be, but that's not how it works. Look on the right. Defense, damage, negation. It's not just percentage, it's also flat. You can see by physical, there's a 132, by holy, there's a 141. There's a flat damage reduction, and there's also a percentage damage reduction. So if you're doing physical and holy, then both of those are going to be affected by a flat reduction and by a percentage reduction. That's why it is better to specialize in one damage type. People will generally have lower holy defense than the other defenses, so even from a percentage standpoint, you will shred through their defenses pretty effectively. Even if they've got really heavy armor, you could melt through them like butter. It's beautiful. The Cypher Pata is a very, very nice little fist weapon. I don't really like the fist weapon moveset in general, but it does have a nice little running R1, nice little quick thrust. You can catch people with that. But really what makes this weapon strong is the Ash of War. That's usually what I swap to this weapon for. This punch, this holy punch, it's like a hecking falcon punch, and it pierces shields too. So if someone's turtling behind their shield with a spear or a heavy thrusting sword, that really triggers you. If you're a faith build, just get this weapon and BAM! Punch right through it. You'll do 1,000 damage if you're spec'd like I am. I'll generally do 1k plus when I'm buffed with this bad boy and I do that weapon art. It hits so hard and it blows their minds. I absolutely love it. But other than that, I'm not really a fan of fist weapons. I'm not a fan of this. Not even really a fan of the jumping attack. The range is kind of low. In general, I'm using the coated swords. Better range on this, and not to mention, just immediately like 2 quick double slices. You shred people with that. It's beautiful. Like if someone's chasing you, then you can turn and burn them with this. But also if someone's chasing you, you can have the Cypher Pata out and then punch and then aim backwards. You can charge it up here and then aim backwards, BAM! Right in the heart for 1k damage. Just make sure you're not locked on when you do that. Make sure you stay unlocked. For some reason, it doesn't do this for most weapons, but for this particular weapon, if you remain locked on someone while you're trying to punch them from behind, you won't actually aim backwards. You'll aim at an angle like this and you'll miss. But just how strong can these weapons get, right? We're at 70 faith right now. The soft cap for faith is 80, the highest soft cap. But my Flask of Wondrous Physic will temporarily boost my faith by plus 10. That's how we reach 80 faith. And it will also temporarily boost my holy attack, so I do more holy damage, which is really nice. So you can see, once again, 592 on the coated sword, 535 on the Cypher Pata, but that's with the Sacred Scorpion Charm. Without it, we're at 528, 478. So once again, 592, 535. If I drink the flask, then we're at 734 on the coated sword, 662 on the Cypher Pata. Now, this is usually where I stop, but by all means, some people did mention this. You can pop Golden Vow. It's a very nice buff. I just get kind of annoyed having to cast it in every invasion. But yeah, if you cast Golden Vow, then in addition to a defense boost that we get, now the coated swords each do 844 pure holy damage, and the Cypher Potta does 762 pure holy damage. 844 per sword, bam, bam. So that's like what? 844 times 2, like about 1700. 1700, like holy damage. That's insane. And we've got some other multipliers that I'll show you in a moment. Another thing to mention, because these are the way these coated swords and Cypher Potta work, they're mostly these holy ciphers. They actually are very lightweight weapons. That's another plus of them. This is only 2.5 units of weight for each of these swords, and this is actually weightless. So if you're a faith build, there's no reason for you to not have a Cypher Potta equipped if you have the weapon space for it. You should definitely have this on because it's literally weightless. If you have the faith for this weapon, put it on. Even if literally just for the Ash of War and nothing else, it's worth it, because remember, it's unblockable. So even just for the occasional turtle guy that's hiding behind his shield, throw this on. Pull it out and you'd be surprised. You can punch through them. It's really cool. And I do use the Erd Tree Seal plus 10. It does have the highest incant scaling, and even though there are talismans that boost the damage of Bestial Slaying or Honed Bolt, like Beast incantations as well as Dragon Cult incantations, you will find that the Erd Tree Seal plus 10 will out DPS both of them. The incant scaling is just so high, at least if you've got 80 faith. If you're going all the way up to 80 faith like me, then you will find that this will give you the most damage out of all the seals, and it is also weightless, which is great. Now for the actual armor, you're going to want to use this helmet. You don't have to, but I use it because it boosts faith by 2. You can see without it, I'm at 78. With it on, I'm at 80. So it's a very, very nice helmet to use for stat efficiency, and it just kind of looks nice. It has that faith vibe about it. I do feel like a sort of holy knight. I like it. As for the rest of the armor, it's up to you, but now that I went up to 125, I was able to raise my endurance a bit. It's at 23 now, and I just threw on Veterans armor because it's a great armor set. Veterans is fantastic, and what I gotta say that I immediately noticed the difference for in this build compared to my level 100 is poise. This build has 72 poise, which is above the critical breakpoint of 51, and I believe 61 is a very important poise breakpoint as well. 51 poise is the amount of poise you need, I believe, to take a one-handed light weapon hit without staggering. I think it's 55 for two-handed, but I'm not sure. And if I'm not mistaken, perhaps someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I think a L1 on light weapons does 61 poise damage. Well, 60, so you need 61 to poise through it. So I think that's why 61 is generally a very desirable poise breakpoint. Why is that important? If you're fighting a dual rapier poke person that's trying to bleed you out with the double rapier poke spam, double thrusting sword spam, you can take a hit or two from that without staggering, and you can trade with these, and you will do way more damage to them than they will do to you. So that's why poise is really, really nice. So having 72 poise, which is a little bit more than I need, it's nice. And of course, it gives great physical defense too. I'm pretty tanky. And on top of that, I do also run the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for even more physical defense. The Claw Talisman enhances jump attacks, but it is worth mentioning there are some alternatives. You will do about 20% more damage to jump attacks with this on, but there are other options. If you really, really fall in love with this punch, and I don't blame you if you do, because it is freaking awesome, you can throw on the Shard of Alexander to do more damage with that. That is perfectly acceptable. Another honorable mention, you could use the Radagon icon if you want to spellcast faster, but frankly, I find that the spells are very secondary to the build, so I don't feel like I need it. This is more of a close range melee build, but yeah, I mean, the spells are kind of secondary. You're more of a spell sword, but by all means, if you like the spells, you could do that. And if you're really obsessed with squeezing as much damage out of those spells as possible, you can run the Phlox Canvas for more damage, but I don't feel like it's worth it. Personally, I do a lot of jump attacks, so I really like the Claw Talisman. Sometimes I've thought about using Shard of Alexander, but I don't feel like I use the Ash of War on the Holy Punch enough for that. And of course, Sacred Scorpion Charm boosts our damage, Erd Tree Favor plus 2 for more HP, stamina, and equipment load. And that's pretty much it. I really do like this 125 build. For those who don't know, 125 is kind of the meta, the rune level meta for PvP, so that's why I made this variant. I do have a level 100 version of this build if you want to stay lower, but I wanted to make a 125 for people who like this level. But basically, we just invest the stats a lot more into survivability. You'll notice Faith is still being handled the same way. Oh my gosh, I'm being summoned as a blue. Not now. But you'll notice also, I raised Vigor to 60, but I pulled points out of Mind. I found because I didn't really use the spells that much, I don't really need more mana. So I pulled the points out of Mind, and whatever extra points I had to reach 125, I put all of those points into Endurance, and that was just about enough to wear Veterans for the rest of my set on top of this helmet. Sorry, host, I'm gonna have to leave you to die. I'm busy. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please leave a like. It helps out a lot. Let me know what builds you'd like to see in the future, because I am addicted to this game, and I love the PvP, so if there's any way I can help, let me know. And as always, happy invading!